Hello and welcome to India Post Live to the conversation. Sonia Gandhi, Congress President and UPA Chairperson, three-time MP, has filed her nominations today. In fact, this morning for the Raebareli constituency, she landed at the Fursadganj airport and in fact was chauffeured by her son Rahul Gandhi to the office to file the nomination papers amidst cheering crowds. And a lot of party workers gathered there to catch a glimpse of Sonia Gandhi. She actually was driven by her son, followed by a road show. There was also a small ritualistic havan performed by the two of them in attendance of a Pandit that they actually took part in the havan before they proceeded to file the nomination papers. So interesting visuals there you can see. We will be taking forward this conversation, and joining us for more on that is Mr. V. Matthew, who is the Executive Director of CMSD, Center for Market Research and Social Development, and also Mr. Dilip Cherian. Thank you so much, both of you, for joining us.
Thank you.
At India Post Live, we are looking at taking forward the conversation and getting a lot of participation. We will also have a Skype caller joining us. First to you, let's talk about this development. It has always been their bastion. She's a three-time MP, Sonia Gandhi. Is it a given that she will be winning the seat, and what are the factors at play here?
In this particular term, Sonia Gandhi has not been visiting the constituency as regularly as she was in the earlier terms, 1999 and 2004. But it is almost a given that she is going to win. Probably the margin will be slightly lesser than what she won in 2009, but there is no doubt that she is going to win this election. The BJP, the fight in Raebareli will be with the BJP. The BJP could have done better than to get an advocate. I mean, the advocate is Ajay Agarwal, Supreme Court advocate. But I don't think he is a strong contender for this particular seat. So the BJP could have done better by putting in a heavyweight candidate to oppose her. But there is no doubt. See, the caste combination, the political equations and the caste combination is such that it favors the BJP, favors the Congress.
So it's always been a traditional bastion for the Congress. It seems to be, it may not be a contest at all between BJP and Samajwadi Party hasn't fielded a candidate yet. It seemed to be a silent onlooker this time around, a tacit understanding there, do you believe? And the Aam Aadmi Party not yet decided on whom to field?
If one goes by the conversation in social media, there seems to be some kind of an arrangement there. And I think that's pretty much, I would say, on expected lines. I would not expect to see a really rough contest between the SP and the Congress, especially at Raebareli. Extending that argument, the broad sweep of this whole area is seen as a kind of Gandhi stronghold. So what happens to Mr. Rahul Gandhi, what happens to Mr. Varun Gandhi, all of these are in a sense things that the locals like to get engaged with. But having said that, it's a crucial seat for Sonia Gandhi to win. It matters a lot because unlike some other noted national leaders, both mother and son are only standing from one seat each. So that's the risk they're taking. So is it a risk? As Matthew said, maybe not, because the caste combination works in Raebareli in her favor. And, but the fact is that they are taking a big risk to show that we are confident of our pocket boroughs and we believe that we can pull it through for the Congress.
But like you said, it doesn't seem to be a very high risk seat yet. But don't you think this time, the election dynamics have changed? The Congress has to prove a point, and it is a prestige seat, so to say, at the end of the day for the Congress and for Sonia Gandhi as such. So it's a face-saving exercise this time around, do you believe, in Raebareli?
Some of these bastions are meant to stop, as it were, like a check dam, a wave which may be sweeping across a state. Because if you have a good showing by Sonia Gandhi in her constituency, it has a ripple effect into more constituencies. Right. And that is what parties rely on. The reason why, for example, a Modi is looking at Banaras is because it means that eastern UP, parts of Bihar get affected. So Sonia Gandhi making a strong showing here, and the fact that Rahul Gandhi was chauffeuring his mother, which by the way is par for the course. This is exactly what he does election after election. So that's not completely surprising, except it's surprising to see some other familiar names not doing that role. Okay, for example, a Satish Sharma should have been seen and more visible perhaps. So to that extent, having strong candidates like Rahul and Sonia standing here makes a big difference to the mood of the Congress campaign in UP, which is not very visible and is not high decibel certainly. Come to the point of the candidate itself, I think that the choice of BJP's candidate for Rai Bareli leaves much to be desired. I tend to agree with him, they could have done better. But from what for little one has seen of him in his past avatars as a candidate tilting against windmills, is that he's loud, he's full of bluster, he carries on, and he's the kind of guy who will get aggressive, and which presents a very nice foil for Sonia, because except on chosen occasions, which are handpicked as it were, she doesn't get ruffled. She tends to be very even-handed, she does not get abusive, she certainly does not.
Right. On this note, we'll try and get in our Skype caller, Ashutosh from Delhi. Thank you, Ashutosh, for joining into the conversation on India Post Live. Do you have a question, or would you like to make a comment to what our panelists have just spoken about?
I think it's important to note that both Rai Bareli and Amethi are no longer that Gandhi bastion that they probably were about 10 years back. For example, if you look at 2012, I think in Rai Bareli particularly, Samajwadi Party went on to win 5 out of 5, and the Congress was reduced to third position in all but one seat. Similarly, in Amethi itself, you had the Samajwadi Party again winning 3 seats and the Congress not figuring. Even in the neighboring districts, when you spoke about the ripple effect, both in Pratapgarh and Sultanpur, you had the Congress lose 9 out of 10 seats, except probably Pramod Tiwari win his Rampur Khas seat, Pramod Tiwari winning. So I don't think that same amount of hype and hysteria still exists. And I also think that to some extent it will be neutralized by Varun Gandhi standing from the neighboring constituency of Sultanpur, even though he might not want to overtly and directly take on the Gandhis.
Very interesting. I was just going to bring in the Varun Gandhi factor and how there has been back and forth with the statements that Varun Gandhi has made. In some of his speeches and rallies, Varun Gandhi has spoken in Sultanpur saying that he endorsed the work done by Rahul in Amethi, and then he withdrew those statements and clarified on his Twitter handle, saying he wasn't really talking in specifics to what was done by Rahul and his project. So do you believe that these sort of factors, the dynamics, family dynamics will come into play in Rai Bareli, and could you describe the constituency a bit more for us?
See, our guest is right. In Amethi, the Congress has just won two out of 5 constituencies. In Rai Bareli, it was a clean sweep. For the Samajwadi Party. One seat for Akhilesh, the independent MLA in Rai Bareli Sadar, and other 4 seats of Rai Bareli, the Congress was wiped out. But there's a difference between an assembly election and a Lok Sabha election.
Of course.
So in the Lok Sabha election, the people tend to vote for the Gandhis, and there is some kind of emotional connect. You see, in 1977, when Indira Gandhi lost Rai Bareli, when the winner Raj Narayan was asked what will you do for Rai Bareli, his retort was that ये लोग meaning Indira ji के नहीं हुए, ये हमारे क्या होंगे. So finally, the Gandhis constantly remind the voters of Raj Narayan's statement. So anybody who comes will not be able to do half or even a quarter of what they have done. So if you look at Amethi and Rai Bareli constituency, it is a telling comment. I visited the constituency about 7-8 years ago, and I just visited about 2 months ago. There is hardly, the infrastructure is in complete shambles. Rahul Gandhi himself does not live in Amethi when he visits Amethi. He chooses to stay in Rai Bareli, where the facilities are slightly better than they are in Amethi. Amethi, there is not a single hotel or a good circuit house where any neta or a prime minister material can stay. Whatever good circuit houses or hotels are available are in Rai Bareli.
Right.
Infrastructure wise, it is completely in shambles. Sonia Gandhi has still been able to bring a large number of projects, but in Raebareli, but not in Amethi. But in
Right.
spite of all that, the as I was mentioning earlier, it has a significant section of Dalits, it has a significant section of Gujar Muslims who will continue to support the Congress. Except in 1977 when the Gujar Muslims turned against
The Congress.
the Congress. So there are 4 lakh Gujar Muslims there, and
Right.
they are a rock solid base even today. Although there are a lot of grievances, they are. I mean, if you the word on the street is that they are against the Congress party, but given the lack of alternative, they will support the Congress this time around as well.
Right. Ashutosh, if you would like to come into this part of the discussion, would you have a question for any of our panelists, Mr. Dilip Cherian or for Mr. Matthew?
Sir, do you actually think that Kumar Vishwas could actually pose an alternate in terms of a clear competition to Rahul Gandhi, or do you think that it would be Smriti Irani who would actually pose a much stiffer competition to Rahul Gandhi?
कुमार विश्वास का चुनाव उठ नहीं पाया है. His election has not been able to take off. And see, in all 80 constituencies of UP, the BJP should come either first or second. So in these 2 particular constituencies, they'll come second.
Right. Will it be a game changer, do you believe? Any surprises in terms of what we've seen so far?
First of all, let me compliment our caller
Ashutosh.
on Ashutosh on the extremely amazing and analytical approach he's taken. I'm very pleased to hear that somebody is actually watching the psephology of the constituency so closely. Will it make a difference? Will Kumar Vishwas's campaign or Smriti Irani's campaign make a difference? I think Smriti Irani, like the BJP candidate in Raebareli, is a noise machine, and they will get their share of voice and their share of shout, and to some extent it will dilute what's happening in the rest of UP, because these constituencies tend to get an undue amount of Twitter attention, social media
Hype.
attention, real media attention, all of it. Okay, so I think the hype will be higher, and if Matthew's predictions are correct, if the BJP is going to be either 1 or 2 in these, then it's very sensible for the other 2 parties to back off from these and focus on the seats where they have a really fighting chance. I don't believe that you will see the decimation of all the other parties. I guess that voters would be smarter than that.
So if I may just come in.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
So particularly in these high-profile constituencies, I strongly think that the opposition parties are never there to actually give a real fight, if you say. For example, I think that's the only reason why Devijay Singh was probably even in the contention for the Varanasi seat, because he was, as you say, a noise machine. Similarly, if you compare the current Amethi elections with what happened in Bellary, Sushma Swaraj taking on Sonia Gandhi in 1999, I think that's the real focus of this election by putting Smriti Irani against Rahul Gandhi, I would say, is to possibly make him look inwards, look towards Amethi much more than he probably would if it was a light contender, taking away precious time in which probably he would campaign across the country.
I agree with you. The idea is always confinement, and I think that's the tactic that AAP is also using in many constituencies, is to confine those candidates to those constituencies because they are equally competent noise machines. But the only difference here is that Smriti is a more competent noise generator than Rahul is. Rahul generates noise because he is the Congress vice president, but he's not the kind of bite a minute kind of person that Smriti Irani is. Smriti could be much more vocal and valuable to the BJP elsewhere because they are very, very short of the younger woman face to put out before the voter, which is a very crucial category of voter which probably the BJP needs to look at more carefully.
Very interesting note there and your observations, Dilip. Thank you so much for joining us. I believe you have some other commitment.
I have another conversation to carry on.
Great. Thank you for your insight on this very interesting VIP constituency as such, Raebareli. We hope to hear from you at some other point
Absolutely,
as well.
thank you.
To take this conversation forward, we'll play those images again of Sonia Gandhi marching in her cavalcade as such this morning to file her nomination papers. In fact, rose petals was showered all over the route that her car took. She was driven by her son, 46-year-old Rahul Gandhi. There was a Havan, in fact, and she reached the district collectorate. And then after that, she visited Takia village. Indira Gandhi, her mother-in-law, had been elected from Raebareli, so it's a very traditional stronghold for the Gandhi family, and she is a 3-time MP from there. It seems to be a given. There doesn't seem to be much of a contest, with the BJP actually fielding Supreme Court lawyer and activist Mr. Ajay Agarwal from there. You can see those visuals, hordes and crowds of supporters and party workers cheering Sonia Gandhi as she went to the district collectorate to file those nomination papers. You could also see a lot of people gathering around the car that was driven by her son Rahul Gandhi, also attracting huge fans and party worker supporters who had gathered. Thank you so much to our Skype caller Ashutosh, who's, I believe, a student, joined us from Delhi. Thank you so much for participating in the conversation. We hope to hear from you again, and please take forward this thread of conversation on our Twitter handle #IndiaPostLive and our website indiapostlive.com. We also will introduce a new guest in the studio, Mr. Venkatesh, a very senior journalist. Thank you so much, Venkatesh, for joining us. We were just talking about, and Dilip has raised very interesting points on how the personality cult of the Gandhi family continues to, persevere in Raebareli. If you could throw some light on the constituency as such. We are told by Matthew that there hasn't been enough work in Amethi or Raebareli. But so why do you think these VIP constituencies still continue to support the Gandhi family? Is it the lack of risk factor? What is it that draws them time and again in every election?
I think there is an emotional connect with the Gandhi Nehru family, which is not only confined to Uttar Pradesh but to various other parts of the country. And when it comes to these two constituencies, Raebareli and Amethi, these are constituencies where the family has represented for very many years, in fact many decades. And that emotional connect is much more than anything else. I still remember the day on which Sonia Gandhi travelled to Amethi and Raebareli when she decided to take active part in politics. Though she was a figurehead, right, she became an active participant in politics when she literally ousted Sitaram Kesari from Congress president's post. And on that day when she was travelling to Amethi and Raebareli, I was also there to cover that journey. And to my surprise, I saw a group of RSS workers in khaki going towards this meeting. So I stopped them on the way and I asked them, why are you going for a Sonia Gandhi meeting? So they said, that in other parts of India we will oppose her, but not here. So that is the kind of connect, that the emotional connect that the family has. I think it's a very important factor.
In terms of development projects, we were just showing some pictures and visuals of her visit there just a week before she filed the nomination papers. In fact, she had announced and in fact gifted several development projects to the constituency of Raebareli to garner more last minute support. But like you say, that it's a given that she would be winning. How exactly do you think this benefits the constituency at all, the development projects? Not many of them have taken off. Matthew has also, actually pointed out that his visits there every time in Amethi and Raebareli clearly show the ground realities are very different, and the Gandhi family really hasn't been able to make their presence felt in terms of participation, in terms of giving back to their vote bank as such.
I don't think these things are very important. There is no doubt about it. I mean, when you look at politics in a realistic manner, rational manner, when you look at politics as a process which has these give and takes, then of course these are important factors. But then ours is a country where we even worship a god who is designated to kill. Like for example, we have a god who is considered to be the Samhara Murti, the man who is in charge of destruction. and then there are people who worship him. So, I think this is a factor which we need to understand. There is a kind of element which is very submissive, which kind of gives out everything to the people. And these are all people who have been very elite. These are people who have supposedly made not supposedly, they've made, actually the family has made significant contribution to this country. If they have not done enough for Raebareli, that's another matter. I think all this perspective is there.
If you could tell us, Matthew, in terms of how will it, the personality cult in Amethi, we've also seen now in Sultanpur, Varun Gandhi is contesting this time around. How does the Gandhi family's influence really matter there in terms, what is the feel and the current you have, and the undercurrent you have, sort of tapped into while on your surveys there?
There is a strong anti-incumbency against Rahul Gandhi, not so much Sonia Gandhi, but definitely against Rahul Gandhi. But that is not enough for him to lose the election. So, if the BJP had probably given a stronger candidate, there would have been a tough fight. So, the present candidate that the BJP has given is not a very strong contender, I would say. So, but there is a very strong undercurrent, there's a strong groundswell against Rahul Gandhi in Amethi, but that is not enough for him to lose the election.
Right. Venkatesh, do you believe that for the Gandhi family this election is going to be a make or break? Not only is she the UPA chairperson, but Rahul Gandhi also is being pitted out as the prime ministerial candidate. So for the family as such, what kind of pressure do you believe they are facing? Put aside Raebareli or Amethi as the prestige seats which they are bound to win. But what kind of pressure, what kind of sentiment or wave is there in these elections?
I suppose it's clear to them as well. The results of this election is almost clear on one aspect of it, that it is an election that the Congress is going to lose. One does not know who is going to win, but the writing on the wall, the one writing that is clear on the wall is that this is an election that the Congress is going to lose. So, this is something I suppose the leaders also would understand, and there have been so many signals of that in the way many senior leaders have refused to contest and they have been compelled to contest. So, all these factors are there. So, I think on that aspect there is no question. I suppose for both Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi, it would be more important to make these two seats count in a way bigger than they used to win earlier. If that point is made, I suppose they would be happy.
Right. We also would like to hear your voice of the viewers' voice, your comments also on our Twitter handle and our website indiapostlive.com. Our Twitter handle is taking in a lot of comments and reactions on this particular conversation. Hashtag #IndiaPostLive. So keep your voices coming. We also had a Skype caller who took forward the discussion and raised very interesting points there, Matthew. What do you feel in terms of the chances of the Congress in Uttar Pradesh, like you were pointing out before? Where is the wave headed?
See, this is Uttar Pradesh will see very, very. It's a very. This election is going to probably.
A make or break?
Going to shock all political pundits sitting in Delhi. All those people who are predicting 20 seats, 25, 30 seats for BJP, I personally feel that they will do very, very well. They could probably cross 50 seats in UP alone.
Okay. And what do you feel about the other parts of India? Do you think that they will be able to make a significant dent?
See, anti-incumbency, 10 years of anti-incumbency against the Congress party is being projected as a wave for the prime ministerial candidate of the BJP. So there is some traction definitely for that gentleman, and this 10 years of anti-incumbency is definitely, see, if the Congress loss is the gain of the BJP.
Right.
At least in the north and west.
Okay.
South and east also, see, they will take a significant vote share, but not enough to win seats.
Right. Venkatesh, your thoughts?
Matthew's track record as somebody who closely watches elections and predicts elections is awesome, to say the least. So even the last assembly elections in Uttar Pradesh was predicted right by him much before anybody could say anything. So I would take it very seriously, but as a political journalist who actually believes in traveling and kind of hearing people's voices, I do not know whether the scale of the victory would be as high. But on the question that the Congress is losing and the BJP is certainly ahead, I think there can be no two opinions about it.
Right. So, any last thoughts on what do you think of the prospects of Rahul Gandhi?
Rahul Gandhi will win the election, but he will not win by such a huge margin as 2009.
Okay. We are getting, we are also reading a few tweets on our handle which says that Vikas Huda is saying, in fact, that why Sonia Gandhi is contesting from Raebareli and not from Varanasi. So clearly, a lot of pro-Modi, comments coming in. This
Priyanka
election
Gandhi
seems
should
to
have contested from Banaras.
right.
She would have been a better contender.
Venkatesh, are there any reports of Priyanka Gandhi campaigning for Rahul and Sonia Gandhi in any of the
She
constituencies?
is the chief of staff. She is handling the entire campaign from 12th O'Clock Road.
Right. Interesting point there. Do you believe him?
No, absolutely. These are all. This is information that most political journalists have. Whether people want to reveal it or not, that's a different matter altogether. But Matthew is not constrained by the interests of the management or the interests of compulsions of
Editorial objectivity.
He's not constrained by all that. So I think he's well within his right to make this comment. This, of course, is well known, and I'm sure that we will see her campaigning in these two constituencies at least, as she has done earlier. She's somebody who kind of goes around and invigorates the villagers to keep their support for Congress.
Congress. Right. If we try and take this kind of sentiment or the undercurrent we are feeling onto the digital media, social media has been buzzing with a lot of pro-Modi supporters trying to be aggressive in terms of Congress. A lot of people are disgruntled, disillusioned with the Congress leadership and the UPA governance in the last two terms. So do you believe that that is where the war or the political game is actually also unfolding before people actually go and cast their votes?
Social media is certainly an important battleground, but I'm sure that Matthew will agree with me. Too much is being made out of this battleground and the buzz that's creating there. Ultimately, the real battle is among the electorate, and that electorate, in fact, the majority of the electorate is still not connected to what you call is the social media.
Right.
But I was surprised in my recent visits in UP. There is some statistic which says 4.5 crore people have WhatsApp. Okay. And immediately post the Muzaffarnagar riots, when I had visited Bagpat, Kairana, Muzaffarnagar, Shamli, etc. There were a large number of youth. They have these 1,000 rupee Chinese phones, and you have this 100 rupee internet packs per month. So they were transmitting the video that went viral. I mean, that must have played a huge part in further inflaming passions in those areas.
Right.
So social media does play a role. I mean, we may not be able to see it in the same way as in Delhi, but it does play a huge role, at least when you have to inflame passions. Social media.
No, my point is not that. My point is that that ultimately the social media has not.
It amplifies voice.
Yeah, it has not reached the stage where it will decide the election in a constituency.
That I agree.
It has not.
That I agree.
Certainly, it's growing. Its impact is growing, but it has
You
not.
don't think it's influencing voters in...
It is influencing voters, but it is not influencing to the level that it is going to decide. See, you cannot win an election only by campaigning on the social media. You need to go to the people.
Right.
You need to, give the appeasements that are required to be given. You need to do the kind of stuff that you have been doing.
In Delhi, Aam Aadmi Party did a combination of both. They were very, very active on social media, but they also had feet on the street.
Right.
They went door to door, they campaigned. I mean, I don't think the Congress of BJP did the same thing. They must have come to my house at least 3-4 times.
Any AAP candidates that could possibly be fielded? Your last thoughts on the topic of personalization of politics and the personality cult as we see in the Gandhi family. Do you think the Aam Aadmi Party could be looking at any possible candidates to try and...
Sanjay Singh is what I hear from Raebareli, but I don't know.
I don't know who the candidate would be, but then if they have to choose an ideal candidate, I know that they have been in talks with him. If they want to choose an ideal candidate, they should go for Gopal Gandhi.
Okay. Okay.
Gopal Krishna Gandhi, who was the governor of
Right.
West Bengal.
Right.
I suppose he would be a good choice if I was in the shoes of the Aam Aadmi Party leadership. This is what I would do.
Okay. That's all we have time for today. Now, thank you so much to both our guests, Mr. Matthew, for taking out time and sharing a very valuable on-ground experience and thoughts on this topic. Thank you so much, Venkatesh, for your political expertise. You've seen and followed the Congress party very closely. Will their fortunes change? How does the personalization of politics or the personality cult, as we see in terms of dynastic politics of the Gandhi family, really does it work in their favor or against them, whether in Raebareli or other VIP constituencies, is a question that we would like to pose to our viewers. Do write in and give your feedback and your comments and take this conversation forward. Thank you so much for your time at India Post Live.